Spiraling out of early morning fun here this morning. That is Venus and the Shocking Blue. It is 7:31 this morning, and time for the news. Brought to you by Portsmouth Cancer Care and Associates. Dr. Inashita. Dr. Inashita, of course, where the care, compassion, roadmap to your recovery begin. Downtown 76 already, and here's Bill.
Thanks, Steve. Good morning, everybody. Several local agencies are doing what they can to help our area residents beat the heat this coming week. Temperatures are expected to soar near the 100-degree mark every day. Here's Executive Director of the Scioto County EMA, Larry Mullins.
Well, the very first heat wave of the season is coming our way starting Sunday through next Tuesday. We have an extreme heat watch in effect. Dangerously hot conditions will persist. Heat indices of over 104 are possible. Heat-related illnesses will increase with the heat and humidity, particularly for those who are working outside or taking part in outdoor activities. So drink plenty of fluids, especially water. Stay in air-conditioned rooms. Stay out of the sun, and check on your relatives and neighbors and your pets. Also, you might want to check around your part of the county. We've urged that to the townships and local villages that they might consider setting up some kind of cooling station. We're also working with the Salvation Army to get a cooling station going here in Portsmouth. We'll tell you more about that when the details are confirmed.
Shane Tiemann, Scioto County prosecutor, announced today that the Scioto County Grand Jury met recently and returned 13 public indictments. Defendants indicted included Richard Colley, age 36, who reported as homeless. He was indicted on 2 counts of receiving stolen property, 9 counts of telecommunications fraud, and 9 counts of misuse of credit cards. Aaron Montgomery, age 34, of New Boston, was indicted on a charge of theft as well as misdemeanor theft. And Brian Albury, age 53, of Wheelersburg, was indicted on charges of aggravated possession of drugs and illegal use or possession of drug paraphernalia. Meanwhile, the Appalachian Freedom Initiative is working to identify Underground Railroad sites in our region. Here is Dr. Drew Fite.
The Appalachian Freedom Initiative is creating a 27-site historical tour in the tri-state. So we're in 9 counties, 3 states. So we'll be ultimately marking sites in Ohio along the river counties, so from Ripley and Brown County up through Adams, Scioto, Lawrence, and then to Gallia. We're marking some sites in West Virginia near Huntington and in Huntington.
I asked Dr. Fite if our area has been neglected in the past when it comes to these type of historical designations.
You're really making a pretty strong point, and it's true that our Underground Railroad history has been, you might say, neglected. It's been overlooked. It hasn't been written up. And with this funding from the Appalachian Regional Commission that has allowed us to hire 9 outreach specialists. These are people from each of the 9 counties. A lot of the history of the Underground Railroad has focused on Ripley, Cincinnati, routes that ran basically through the larger cities from Cincinnati to Columbus to Cleveland and then ultimately to Canada. But really, this research and the history has just been waiting there for somebody to come along and connect the dots.
Now, this weekend, marked the 50th anniversary of Jaws, the pop culture phenomenon widely regarded as the first summer blockbuster in film history, passing $100 million at the box office. It also marked the second theatrical release from a young Steven Spielberg, propelling him to fame at the age of 28. For Mix 99.3 News, I'm Bill Shope.
Yes, it was Friday, 50 years ago, that people went to the theater to see something that actually was supposed to be out in Christmas of 1974. Did you know that?
Didn't know that, no.
Well, they had problems with the movie Jaws. It was a rather problematic movie to film, apparently, because the shark didn't work. That was one of the things that made it, I think, as good a movie as it was, because they apparently, if you saw the behind the scenes of Jaws with Richard Dreyfuss, he was talking about every morning they would get up and the first thing they would get on the walkie-talkie and say, "Is the shark working today?" No.
That's why they had 3 of them. They had 3.
And all 3 never worked. Now, one of the things that they did, they improvised. Every day they had to go in and rewrite the script for that particular day was, remember the barrels popping up?
Yep.
That was supposed to be the shark chasing the boat, but it didn't work, so they decided to go with the barrels, which I think was kind of Alfred Hitchcocky, which
Yeah.
the whole movie was kind of, because they had to do a lot without showing the shark, but, translating the fear of everybody to that. So anyway, it was the first blockbuster movie to make $100 million released in the summer, because back in 1975, movie companies didn't want to release movies in the summer because people were doing other things.
Well, yeah, and to date, that movie has grossed over $1.5 billion.
Yes. I've told you the story about being in Daytona Beach that summer.
Yes.
I'll just repeat very quickly that I had this camera that my parents had given me as a going away present, and I didn't know how to use it. It was a Minolta camera. It had a million buttons on it, and I was trying to take pictures and so forth. But anyway, I was walking down the beach in Daytona, and all of a sudden, it was just like the scene out of Jaws, where the lifeguards were blowing whistles and getting people out of the water and whatever. And so I saw this kind of dark object coming down the beach, and I snapped some pictures of it. Well, lo and behold, I took it to the photo lab, and the guy was not used to me bringing in anything that was good, but he handed me the photos and says, "You did a pretty good job on these." And I opened them up, and there was a picture of a shark
Oh, wow.
in about 3 feet of water.
Yep.
So I took it back to the radio station I was working at, and a guy told me, he said, "Well, you need to take that over to the newspaper." So I ran over to the newspaper, and the guy was real nice to me, very stern. He wanted to buy my picture for $100, but he also wanted the negative. And something smacked me on that. I said, "Well, I don't want to give you the negative."
They want to kill it?
Yeah, well, went back to the radio station. There was a guy there that worked at the newspaper, and he said, "I hate to disappoint you, son. They did not want to buy your picture out of the creative art. They wanted to buy it so nobody would see it."
Oh, man.
Well, that summer,
Sure.
35% of the people left the beach.
People lost their minds, yes.
Yeah. And they went to the woods, I guess. I've always said this before, I'll say it again. I always thought it would be funny if that same summer they had another movie out about a human eating bear at a KOA campground, and that would have been the summer of Jaws and Claws, and nobody would have gone on vacation.
Cocaine Bear was only 40 years too late.
All right, man. Thank you. This update brought to you by Portsmouth Cancer Care and Associates. That's Dr. Inashita, where the care, compassion, and the roadmap to your recovery begin. And we got sports and Chuck coming up.
The health and well-being of the community when it comes to cancer care and the cure is a name that's legendary. His name is Dr. Inashita. At Portsmouth Cancer Care and Associates of Portsmouth, they're always there to think way ahead of the curve, to provide the absolute latest in care treatments and that personal one-on-one service that today is so rare. With Dr. Inashita and King's Daughters, they owe their success to the many forward-thinking community members and great volunteers who have all helped shape King's Daughters and Dr. Inashita as their first choice from patients and families who choose them for the most critical time in their life, when that absolute right decision must be made. For more information, from screenings to treatment, contact Dr. Inashita by calling 353-4884 or stop by and meet their incredibly helpful staff at 916 11th Street in Portsmouth. With Dr. I and Portsmouth Cancer Care and Associates, it's where the care, compassion, and the roadmap to your cure begin.
And it is time now once again for sports, just about 20 minutes away from the top of the hour. Brought to you by Collier Home Medical, 1661 State Route 522. And don't forget, Collier is there with everything that you need to bring it home. That's right, home medical at its absolute finest at Collier. Just give them a call at 574-0327. Chuck is here this morning as we've got some good news to talk about over the weekend with them Cincinnati Reds.
Yeah, not as much as what we had hoped for, but a little bit. The
Yeah.
Reds couldn't win the series in St. Louis, but at least the Reds maintained their streak that has been persisting all season long. They have yet to be swept in a series all year, and that was the case yesterday as the Reds were able to get out of town without losing all of them.
Yeah. And now it's going to be interesting tonight as the evil empire kind of invades Great American Ballpark. But let's talk about yesterday. Big day for Matt McLean.
Yes, it was. The Reds took down the St. Louis Cardinals 4-1 in yesterday's contest. Matt McClain hit a first-inning home run to get the scoring started.
Here's the 2-1 pitch. McClain sends a fly ball to right field. This is pretty well hit. Walker's going back. He's at the wall. He leaps. It is gone. Into the Cardinal bullpen. Matt McClain extends his hit streak into double figures with a one-out home run to put the Reds on top 1-0.
That Matt McClain hit streak is now at 10 games, and he wasn't the only offensive standout yesterday. Jose Trevino, Jake Fraley, and Ellie De La Cruz all had doubles. Trevino, from his catcher's position, had an incredible catch of a foul ball in yesterday's Reds win. Andrew Abbott was the triumphant pitcher. He got the start and pitched the first 7 innings, surrendering just 1 run off of 3 hits. Abbott did not walk a single St. Louis batter. He upped his record to 7-1 and currently has an ERA of 1.79. Emilio Pagan logged his 18th save of the season. As we alluded to a few moments ago, the Reds return home this evening to welcome the New York Yankees to Great American Ballpark for a 3-game series. The first game of that set will be this evening. It'll be a 7:10 first pitch, and you'll be able to hear it live on Fox Sportsmouth AM 1260 and 95.7 FM with pregame coverage beginning at 6:40. Nick Lodolo will get the start tonight for Cincinnati. The Reds open up the work week, 4th in the NL Central, 6.5 games out. Cincinnati is 3 games out in the NL wildcard race. The Yankees currently sit atop the AL East. They are 13 games over 500 with a record of 45 wins and 32 losses. The Cleveland Guardians took 2 out of 3 from the Oakland A's over the weekend. Cleveland prevailed in the rubber match yesterday, winning 3-0. The Guardians will return home to host the Blue Jays. That 3-game series gets underway this evening with the 6:40 first pitch. Cleveland is presently second in the American League Central, 8.5 games back. In minor league baseball news, the Chillicothe Paints won 2 out of 3 at home against the Lafayette Aviators over the weekend. The Paints are now 13-8. They'll visit Lafayette this evening for a 7 o'clock first pitch. The Oklahoma City Thunder have claimed their first ever NBA title after defeating Indiana last night at home 103-91 in the 7th and decisive game of the series. The Pacers' Tyrese Halliburton had to leave the contest in the first quarter last night with an Achilles injury. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a former Kentucky Wildcat, was named the series MVP. SGA put up a game-high 29 points in last night's game. Chase Briscoe took the checkered flag at yesterday's NASCAR Cup race at Pocono. And in dirt car racing news, Danny Dietrich won Saturday's Dean Nettle Memorial Wing Sprint Car Race at Atomic Speedway in Chillicothe. And that is a look at sports.
All right, and thank you, Chuck. Brought to you by Call Your Home Medical, 1661 State Route 522. And they're there to make it easy for you when it comes to home setup of a variety of home medical equipment. Just call 574-0327. And we got traffic weather on the way.
Collier is expanding its business opportunities to include Collier Home Medical, a local durable medical equipment company, or DME, offering free home setup of a variety of home medical equipment such as home oxygen and portable oxygen, as well as hospital beds, wheelchairs, rollators, walkers, and more. Collier also offers home sleep testing along with CPAP and BiPAP for patients diagnosed with sleep apnea. Overnight pulse oximetry testing is available with a physician order. Located at 1661 State Route 522 across from Kroger in Wheelersburg, call 740-574-0327.
And traffic brought to you this morning by your friends at Scioto River, 1024 Gallia Street. Where it comes to summer fun, they'll come to you too, because at the river, they do love to cater. And this morning, we've got no accidents to report, just plenty of barrels northbound, of course, Scioto County, Pike County. You know that by now if you travel it every day. But we've also got, a little scrutiny on the west side, reports of a sheriff deputy looking at you coming into town per normal, and in Wheelersburg coming off of Dogwood Ridge. We just got a report there could be a statey waiting for you at the end of that. So if you see something we need to know about, let us know at 354-1993. Traffic is service of your friends at the Scioto River, open 7 days a week.
Weather is service of the Scioto County Career Technical Center, where you can begin your career as a certified pharmacy technician. Financial aid is available for those who qualify. For more information, call 740-259-5526 or visit sciototech.org.
Today's the first alert weather day for extreme heat warning from about 11 o'clock through 8 p.m. It's going to feel like 100 degrees or hotter when you throw in the effects of humidity. Air temperatures themselves will reach the 90s. Mostly clear tonight. Light winds still warm. Lows in the 70s. More sunshine and near record heat on Tuesday with highs in the 90s.
I'm WSAZ News Channel 3 meteorologist Brandon Butcher on the Ohio Valley's hit music channel, Mix 99.3.
And downtown right now looking at 76 as we get up and go.
Steve Hayes.